to give the people what they want. It's Jalen and Jacoby.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. What do?
We give the people what they want.
We know what the people want, and we know exactly what Isaiah Thomas wants. A full year before his impending free agency, IT is rocking some custom-made slides, Jalen Rose. And what is on the slides?
You got to back up the Brinks truck and pay that man.
He put a Brinks truck on, I believe, is the left foot, and then just flying money everywhere on the right foot. I looked to buy these for myself, could not find them. I believe they are custom-made slides for IT. Obviously, this has implications to the future of the Celtics. Do you think the Celtics will back up the Brinks truck for Isaiah Thomas?
I think they should. I think they need to. And I appreciate him letting it be known. I want more money, more money, more money, more. And rightfully so. Here's a guy that was the final pick in the second round of the Sacramento Kings, played his way into opportunity, continued to outplay his contract, continued to put up statistical numbers, got traded to the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns were fleeced by the Boston Celtics. And all of a sudden, he's a member of their team, averaging almost 30 points, a perennial all-star. The Boston Celtics are the number one seed in the East. They taking care of Gordon Hayward, and rightfully so. Al Horford got his bread, and rightfully so. But Isaiah is like, y'all better start clearing out some room. We're going to make sure we're on the same page. Or it puts the Celtics in a position to now decide if they want to actually do that moving forward. Stay tuned.
Well, Isaiah Thomas is the type of player that's going to deserve some sort of a max contract. I mean, isn't there a part of the Celtics that just wants to see how this season goes? See how when you add Hayward, maybe you don't need Isaiah Thomas' scoring anymore? Maybe you want to get a couple more defensive players to put into that mix? I mean, I don't know if this is a done deal.
That's why I'm showing up with the slides with the Brinks truck on them, to let you know, to let everybody else know. Y'all might not be wanting to pay me. And they might feel just like you feel. Oh, let's see how this year go. And I'm saying to myself, y'all saw how last year went without Gordon. So y'all can probably try to figure out maybe if there's a future without me. But I know one thing that's going to be in my future, getting top dollar.
I love it. I want to know how he got the slides made. Like, I don't know how you get custom slides. Did he go on Google and search Brinks truck? Did he get on the phone with like an assistant and just be like, okay, I want one foot to have the Brinks truck. I want it to be shooting money all the way over to the other foot. And like, this was clearly a calculated maneuver. He's sending a message to the front office saying, look, whether you pay me or someone else pays me, I am getting paid. It'll be really interesting to see this as a subtext throughout the season for the former number one seed Boston Celtics. Another point guard who's dealing with a little bit of a contract situation, gentleman by the name of Chris Paul. We watched Chris Paul play in the Drew with James Harden, work out with James Harden, play pickup with James Harden, go to Trevor Ariza's wedding. He's all in on the Rockets, but are the Rockets all in on him? Daryl Morey said this about Chris Paul, quote, "We've had high-level discussions. He hopes to continue with Houston. He likes the team, the organization, and the city. In terms of him actually signing long-term, that's something that won't be discussed until next year." So here's my question, Jalen. Is Chris Paul auditioning for the Rockets, or is the Rockets auditioning for Chris Paul this year?
I like what you did there. And it's the latter. The Rockets are auditioning for Chris Paul. Because if it was the other way around, guess what he would do? He would sign. So he's allowing his options to play themselves out and allowing this season to do the exact same thing. Because while we're going to marvel at their backcourt, and they will be terrific, he and James Harden, probably going to be the most productive backcourt in the game, they still have some holes to fill up front. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as the season progresses. And more importantly, we all know the Banana Boat boys all trying to be free agents at the same time.
We know that. We know that. Like, I don't know why no one's talking about this except for Jalen and Jacoby. We've got Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Paul all just so happen to be free agents at the end of this year. And it's just like, oh, it's a coincidence. There's a reason Chris Paul has only signed. He could have had a max deal this year. He's not a young man either. That probably would have been financially the smart thing to do. But you know there's a group text somewhere that said, summer 2018, we're all going somewhere. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I wouldn't be surprised if at least two of those players were on the same team. What do you think about the potential for Carmelo to join? Because I feel like having James Harden and Chris Paul works in the Drew League. We're not sure if it works in D-League. With the idea that Carmelo only wants to waive his no-trade clause to go to Houston seemed to make it even a bigger experiment, which might be one of the reasons Chris Paul is like, well, let me not sign long-term quite yet.
This is why if you're the Houston Rockets, you try to get Carmelo Anthony in tow. Because now all of a sudden that creates another anchor to give you an opportunity to hope you keep Chris Paul at the end of this season. And so for Carmelo, being acknowledged that that's the team that he possibly wants to play for, don't underestimate the Oklahoma City Thunder as a dark horse in this situation too.
Wait, what?
But I agree with you. Adding Carmelo does give them a jolt. And it's going to be a different look. They're going to have to play more traditional basketball. If you watch Mike D'Antoni's teams play since the Phoenix Suns days, he either likes to have 4 players or 5 players around the three-point line that are catch and knock down shooters. Now with Harden and Chris Paul, it's going to be a lot more downhill, a lot more pick and roll, playing within the arc. The same with Carmelo Anthony. He likes to massage that thing like Adrian Dantley.
Yeah, it's not 7 seconds or less. With Carmelo, it's 7 seconds before I dribble.
No doubt. It's not going to be like Ryan Anderson catch and shoot or Eric Gordon catch and shoot. So the dynamics of how they play basketball are going to be more traditional, and they need to be. It's almost like Chip Kelly in the NFL. You have to find a way to milk the clock at some point in time.
That's a good point.
The same thing for the Houston Rockets. You have to diversify your offensive portfolio and create a level of balance to make the other team have to not only guard the 3-line, but obviously guard the rest of the floor.
Well, when once there was a lot of discussion about Carmelo Anthony going to Cleveland, it now seems that he has whittled it down to just Houston, and we will see how this year plays out for that Houston Rockets team. Of course, we have to update you on the Kyrie Irving trade rumors. When last we were talking about Kyrie, he was dancing next to Steph Curry while he was mocking LeBron James, which just adds more fuel to the trade fire. What do you call that dance, Jalen? I forgot.
Blade Icewood.
The Blade Icewood, of course, the Blade Icewood. How could I forget? According to Cleveland.com's Joe Varden, the Cavs are interested in dealing Kyrie Irving to, you'll never believe this, the Phoenix Suns. But here's what they would like in return. They're asking for not just Eric Bledsoe, who's repped by...
Is that Clutch Sports?
That's Clutch
and
Sports.
Rich Paul?
Yep. So they're asking not just for Eric Bledsoe, not just rookie Josh Jackson, but also Miami's pick in the 2018 season, which the Suns own. Would it be smart for the Cavs to make this move? And if they're interested, what does that tell you about the future of the Cavaliers?
I got a boomerang for you.
Do you know what a boomerang is?
If you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, here's what you do. You get on the phone with LeBron James and Rich Paul.
And say, LeBron's not picking up calls, so it has to be Rich.
If I bring Eric Bledsoe and Jackson in tow and get this pick from Miami, does this now encourage you to stay more than one season? Because they have a personal and a professional relationship. Clearly, we've seen them work out in the summers, and we know that they have the ties that we just discussed. And if this is going to make LeBron happy, then I do it. So much of Kyrie's trade request has become about LeBron as opposed to it being about Kyrie. He's the one that came out and said, I don't want to be a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron still has an opportunity to weigh his options.
The interesting part about this is Kyrie is like, oh, I want to get out from under the shadow of LeBron James, whatever it is. I don't want to be a little brother. I don't want to get sunned. I don't want to be the second option. Well, all of a sudden, he's going to find himself in Phoenix, which isn't exactly a playoff team on paper with or without Kyrie Irving. So I don't know if that would necessarily lead to a happier Kyrie Irving. But hey, if you want to leave LeBron, you can leave LeBron and go to Phoenix. It's a wonderful place to live. And it'll be you and Devin Booker in the backcourt. Just need to put some people around him. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, I have really troubling news for you, Mr. Rose. 50 Cent went on IG and he said that he might pull power
Kanan,
from the airwaves.
Slim,
He
what?
might pull power
No.
from the airwaves.
Ghost just got
Power might be
released.
gone.
No.
We'll explain after this.
Tommy.
Jalen and Jacoby. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen wrote some very concerning news for you personally. 50 Cent took to Instagram today and said that he might pull the plug on Power. He said, quote, if the biggest show on your network doesn't mean anything, what does your network mean, stars? And then threatened to take his talents to South Beach. Don't understand that last part. But I know Power means a lot to you, Jalen. So I just compose yourself. Are you going to be okay with a world without Power?
No, I'm not going to be okay.
Okay.
You can't do this to me. Don't do this to me, Curtis.
But, like, didn't he do this, like, last season? Doesn't he kind of do this every season?
You're one of the 5 guests we had on this show. We clearly got to get him back on to talk about it. Now, his character's done transformed. Kanan done turned into Slim. Maybe it's a precursor to what's going to happen with his personal character. But Power ain't going nowhere.
We'll
Power
see.
can't go nowhere.
We'll keep you updated here on Jalen and Jacoby as to the status of Power on Stars. Next, I love this story so much. We used to be on YouTube a lot. You can still find us on YouTube. And the YouTube comment section is just like, you don't really want to be there. You know what I mean? This is not a lot of positivity. Not a very uplifting place to be. You know who's up in the YouTube comment section of his channel? A gentleman by the name of Kevin Durant. And there was a fan, just someone on there named Joe Deasy. Joe Deasy commented, quote, LeBron is better than you, just facts. Kevin Durant never responds to any of these comments on his YouTube channel, but he responded to Joe Deasy. Big shout to Joe Deasy. Big day for Joe Deasy. And he wrote back, Joe Deasy, nah. I have so many questions about this. First of all, respect to you, Joe Deasy. Today is your day. Second of all, does Kevin Durant think that he can say he's the best player on the planet in a YouTube comment and we're not going to notice?
It's like the game king of the court. LeBron James is the best player in the world, averaged a triple-double in the NBA Finals, but his team lost in 5 games. So for Kevin Durant, the Finals MVP, that's one trophy. The championship trophy is another one. He has both. So over this summer, he gets to be king of the court. I understand the theory behind his thinking, but in my opinion, LeBron James is still clearly the best player in the game.
LeBron James is the best player in the world, but I understand that Kevin Durant's confident. He had a great finals. You know, he won the finals MVP. That's all great and everything. But it's just why does he choose this venue? Why is he going through the comments on his own YouTube channel and saying, right here, right now, this is the place that I am going to claim that I'm the best basketball player on the planet?
He was just bored. Probably was going through all of his social media things. Probably was going through Twitter and going through IG. They're like, let me check out this YouTube page. You know what? I'm going to make this guy's day. I'm going to make him famous. I'm going to reply to him.
We used to, be pretty popular on YouTube, and I used to go into those comments. It hurts. It hurts, man. It really does hurt. It just seems like he's got like some sort of sadomasochistic internet habits if he's really in the YouTube comments on his own channel checking this out. But shout to you, KD. We're watching. Shout to Joe Deasy, too. Next, we have an investigation update as to the whereabouts of Allen Iverson. Now, we don't know if this is actually true. TMZ is claiming that Allen Iverson was not just in the casino outside Chicago on Thursday night, but also on Saturday night and into Sunday morning when he was supposed to be in Dallas with the Big Three. We don't know if this is true. This is something that TMZ is claiming, and they have some pictures that we saw. My question is this, though. If you're Ice Cube and you get this information, how do you discipline Allen Iverson? What do you say to Iverson? What do you do as someone who runs the league?
You got to find a way eventually to hit his pockets, because what ends up happening to the credibility of the league, and you're promising a certain product, just like the NBA, just like any business, just like doing a show. When you buy a ticket, you're paying for the headliner, but they also tell you who else is going to be on the show. And so there are people that are lining up actually to come see those individuals. So because he is getting paid to be in the league as a coach and or as a player, if not a general manager, at some point, you're probably going to end up fining them an undisclosed amount. However, you don't want that to get out to the public at this point.
And then we have this. Daryl Morey. What a successful offseason this has been for Daryl Morey. He brought in CP3. They're talking about an extension. He's got Carmelo Anthony saying, I want to come to the Rockets. But then he opened his mouth and said this. He said that the MVP has lost its focus on winning, and they should probably just do away with all of the trophies, all of the awards. What do you think about that?
Daryl Morey, really smart guy. This is when keeping the analytics goes wrong. You have to reward the players for the excellence for the 82-game schedule, period. You have to take it. Look at Russell Westbrook this season. He may not win the championship, but you have to reward his excellence in averaging a triple-double. And I know James Harden came up short a couple of times. I feel the exact same way about the scoring title. It should be total points, not necessarily average. But to do away with the historical, iconic trophies that come with the accomplishments of so many great players throughout the regular season is laughable.
It is. It's just kind of like, you don't want there to be an MVP award. You're trying to tell me that Draymond Green shouldn't get recognized for his defense. You know, you're trying to tell me that, we're going to do away with the All-Star game. It just seems kind of silly. It seems like he didn't really mean what he said. It seems like he was salty. That's what it seems like. It seems like he was riding for his guy, James Harden, the same way that Kyrie wasn't riding for his guy, LeBron, when Steph was dancing. It's like, I understand it. Daryl Morey, we all recognize as one of the best basketball minds in the business, but, like, he can't be serious with this. Like, there needs to be an MVP. And you know what, Daryl Morey? James Harden had a great season. Russell Westbrook had a better season. Dude averaged a triple-double. Seems pretty valuable to me. Seems like maybe even the most valuable player. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. We also have this from Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin responded and said, you know what? You're right. We should probably get rid of all the awards, and we should probably get rid of the championship, too. We should probably just give everybody a participation trophy. Seems dumb. And then he wrote, don't at me, which is a great way to finish. Kind of Trumpian, but I loved it. What do you think about Blake's response?
I like his response. I agree with his response. And like you always say, you can be mean if you're funny, and that was really clever.
That was funny. I really enjoyed it. Well, something tells me that Daryl Morey is just really feeling himself this offseason. You know, he's just feeling himself. He's got CP3. Everyone's talking about the Rockets. The Rockets are legit challengers to the Warriors. Yes, I said it. They are a legit challenge to the Warriors this season, and we'll see how it plays out. But something tells me they're still going to have the awards next year. Maybe not hosted by Drake, but they'll have the awards. I love this story. We covered the NBA wedding weekend very heavily yesterday. There was one nuptials between Trevor Ariza and his lovely lady, and Harrison Barnes also got married. A lot of Warriors went out, made the trip to Rhode Island to see Harrison Barnes. And some of those Warriors, and one ex-Warrior, Steph Curry and Kent Bazemore, they didn't want the party to end. Sometimes when the party's over, you know, they say you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. Well, they got out of there. They changed out of their tuxes and put on some casual gear. They're just walking around Newport, Rhode Island. They saw a house that was still rocking, and they came a-knocking. Steph Curry, Kent Bazemore, and 3 others knocked on the door of a house party and wanted to hang out. They ended up chugging Bud Lights. They ended up staying. They ended up taking pictures that were posted on social media. Soft move or boss move?
Boss move. All-season fun by Steph Curry. And also, here's the thing. It's always great when you don't take yourself so serious. And I bet they made the day of the individuals who opened the door, allowed them in, showed some personality, spent some time, and got some free beers. No harm, no foul. I love it.
I do have one soft move, though. He chugged a Bud Light, but most of the Bud Light ended up on his shirt. Like, come on, Steph. You went to Davidson. It was a 12-ounce can. Like, you could chug a Bud Light. Have you ever chugged a full 12-ounce beer in your life, Jalen Rose?
A full 12-ounce beer? Is that a trick question? There are periods in my life where I chugged a full 40-ounce nonstop.
Wait a second. You chugged a full 40-ounce nonstop?
Multiple times. Old English.
Okay. Next time, don't say that on wax. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, Steve Bartman is getting a World Series ring. I don't think he deserves it. We'll go into that next. Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN 2. Wednesday night baseball matchup this week. is the series finale between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox, coming to you from Fenway Park, two of the AL's best teams. That starts at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, and you can also stream it live on the ESPN app. Jalen Rose, big fight coming up. Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, the whole world's talking about it, but no one's buying tickets. Right now, they still have a lot of tickets available. The cheapest tickets available are about $3,500. If you want to sit closer, it costs you more. Are you surprised that the tickets are selling slowly for this mega fight spectacle?
Not surprised at all. But I guarantee you what, come August 26th, the arena's going to be full. Mm-hmm. All of the TVs around the country are going to be watching. People are going to be paying $40 to go to the movies to watch the fight. And so it doesn't surprise me initially because people aren't in a rush to spend that level of money just yet until the last minute when they have to. And also, they want to make sure this thing is still happening.
There's always that. You never really know. You never really know with these two. Someone could back out. You remember the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight? There's this whole thing about the gloves the night before, and Floyd was freaking out, and who knows what's going to happen. And there's also this, I think this also speaks to something that's happening in the world of sports where going to the venue and watching the game is not as appealing as it used to be, when staying home and watching the game is so much more fun, so much easier, and just so much less of a thing. And $90 versus $3,500, my own house versus flying to Vegas and being amongst that chaos, I'm definitely going to stay home and watch this fight.
And I can't front. I wanted it to be at the MGM Grand, and I know the T-Mobile Center is a terrific new venue, but maybe that change has something to do with it also. A lot of people was paying it. Was slotted to go to the Big Three championship that day.
I guess so. I feel like Ice Cube should have held out and got more money from him from this.
I'm pretty sure he got some good money.
He should still be holding out. He should be like, no, not ready. I'm sorry. We got a game that day. We got Big Three that day. I don't know what to tell you guys. You guys hold your fight somewhere else. We got a Big Three game that day. We got to see if the Killer Bees can continue their winning streak. This I found a little concerning. I don't know why this doesn't sit right with me. We need to talk about this. Steve Bartman, we all know who Steve Bartman is. Tried to catch the foul ball. Lou got mad at him. Cubs lose the game. Blah, blah, blah. We've seen the 30 for 30. Now the Cubs, in their championship glory, are giving Steve Bartman a World Series ring. I'm all for helping the little guy. I'm all for making people feel good. Why don't I like this?
It's not necessarily a boss move or a soft move. It's actually a class move. Because he became the face of the franchise's ineptitude to the point where not winning over 100 years now became his identity. And because of that, and the play that you mentioned, and I'm a Moises Alou fan, and being a player, I'm telling you, how you respond in situations like that become a domino effect. If he would have just ran over and be like, all right, it's all good, let's keep playing, I still think the Cubs would have won.
That's a good
point. But he was visibly upset, and rightfully so in that moment. And now all of a sudden, Bartman, cameras are everywhere. Now all of a sudden, his identity is challenged because so many people now continue to come up to him and woo him and try to make sure that he becomes the fall guy. And so for the Cubs to reward him in this manner, I think it was a class move. I just have to ask one question. Is it a real ring with real diamonds?
No. That's going to be one of those replicas. It's going to be one of those replicas that the people that work the vending machines get. Yeah, there's World Series rings, and then there's the ones that you give to Steve Bartman and the guy that runs the press department.
Whatever.
Your Detroit Tigers are just completely clearing house. They've decided, you know what, we're not in anymore. We're just going to clear house. So one thing they did is they traded away closer Justin Wilson. They also traded a catcher to the Cubs, and they got back some prospects, some offensive players. One detail I found interesting. The catcher that general manager Al Avila traded to the Cubs was his firstborn son, Alex Avila. Jalen Rose. Soft move or boss move, trading your firstborn son away to a different team?
It's a boss move.
It's a boss move. I agree.
For a couple of reasons. Look at the situation with Doc in Austin.
Exactly where I was going.
He brought him in, but it was such a good fit that he found a way to make it work. Austin played well, improved his game, found staying power in the league, got a new contract, now without Chris Paul, now without Jamal Crawford, now without J.J. Redick. he might be starting. Now, on the other hand, if you're the Tigers GM and you don't have that opportunity to give your son, send him somewhere where you think he might have an opportunity to shine.
Exactly. It's like, oh, son, guess what? We're not going to work together anymore. But you know what else? You're going to a championship contending team and a storied franchise. Something tells me that's going to work out. I think they'll both be just fine with this move. Brian Windhorst, always breaking LeBron news. He dropped this little nugget that I found very interesting. He said that the NBA actually investigated Clutch Sports. They the sports representation agency that is associated with LeBron James, to see whether or not LeBron James had an ownership stake in it, which is obviously a conflict of interest and against the rules. Did the NBA really think LeBron would be this sloppy?
Wendy, Adam Silver, I want to introduce you to 2 words. Mob rules.
Yeah, come on now.
There's no documentation.
Yeah, it's not on paper.
On a friendship.
We're not going to file that when we form the LLC or whatever, and we incorporate Clutch Sports. Come on now.
These homies go back since day one. They down like 4 flat tires. They don't have to sign anything.
No, yeah, that's not on wax. It doesn't say LeBron James has got some sort of stake in Clutch Sports. Please. But something tells me that he might, I don't know, influence some of the players that they sign and some of the moves that they make. He wouldn't influence that kind of a move, would he?
Rich Paul's coming up in the game. You look at his roster.
Sure do.
John Wall, Eric Bledsoe,
Ben Simmons,
LeBron James, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Yesterday was the trade deadline in the Major League Baseball. And Yu Darvish was someone who was talked about. He's a big arm for the Texas Rangers, and perhaps he was going to get traded. A lot of talk about that. Where was he going to end up? So right before the trade deadline, he just assured his fans that he was going to stay put in Texas, taking a picture of himself at his locker before the trade deadline. Well, guess what? He then got traded. Did Yu Darvish jinx himself by posting that picture?
Probably was a good jinx.
Yeah, he ended up on the best team in Major League Baseball, so this isn't bad.
How about this? Now he and Clayton Kershaw, with the way the Dodgers have been playing, they're the legitimate favorites to win the World Series, so he did something right.
He absolutely did. Is Magic Johnson having the best year of his life right now?
Think about it. The Sparks won the WNBA championship. The Lakers got the number 2 overall pick. He's back in the front office. He hired Rob Pelinka. But you can't beat the year of 79, 80. When you jump from college after winning the championship against playing Larry Bird in the Final Four during that year, and then you get to the league, win the championship as a rookie, jump center in the closeout game, have 40 points, and put up big-time numbers, that has to be one of the greatest years of anybody ever. In sports.
Is he too big to come on the show? Will he come on the show?
He'll come on the show.
Is he in your phone? You got him in your phone?
I got him on the text.
Get him on the text. Hit him on the text. Finally, there were some rumors that this was potentially going to happen, but we now have it confirmed. Sergio Garcia wore his Masters green jacket at his wedding reception. Is that a soft move or a boss move?
You said his green jacket.
Yes.
Boss move.
Soft move. I disagree completely on this. No green jacket is ever a good look. And you already have it on wax. You got the jacket. There's plenty of cameras around, flashing bulbs everywhere. We know you won the Masters, dude. This is your wedding night. You should not take any attention on your athletic achievements on the night of your nuptials. Soft move.
You saying that to a guy that wore a red and white suit to the draft.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Boss move. Just think about it like this. If it was Celtic green with Bird on the back and number 33, you wouldn't rock that?
I would not rock that. Not at my wedding.
You're not being truthful.
Yes, I am. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, we'll decide what's worth talking about and what's not worth talking about with a segment that we call Keep It Moving. Here's one thing that you all need to know about Jalen Rose, who is on television every single day. If you send him free clothes, he wears those clothes. For real. Political statements that he doesn't agree with, teams he doesn't support, people he's never heard of, high school teams from South Dakota. Just send him some gear, size extra large. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. There's a lot going on in the world of sports and pop culture. Not all of it is worthy of discussion, so we have a segment called Keep It Moving. If we don't want to talk about it, Jalen Rose to keep it moving. Method Man backs him up. If it is worth talking about, we hit the brakes and break it down. First up, Jets rookie Jamal Adams has said that the football field is, quote, a perfect place to die. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes. I understand what he was trying to get accomplished. The game of football has done so much for him. He now made it to the NFL. His dream. He's going to have a terrific career, by the way. I figured if he was in a better situation, he'd probably win Rookie of the Year. But with that being said, he was trying to pay homage to the game that he loves so very much. And normally when we do that, we say, well, I'll be willing to die doing this. I don't think he meant it literally.
Yes. I think that he will be putting out another statement that will clarify his feelings on the matter. Next, the Olympics will come right here to Los Angeles in the year 2028. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving.
Too far away.
Right.
Hackers have hacked into HBO, and they're threatening to release all of the remaining episodes of this season of Game of Thrones. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Jalen, did you hit the brakes just for me?
I did, sir.
I don't want your sympathy. Keep it moving. J.R. Smith has responded to Tracy McGrady's comments about the value of a championship and the value of going to the Hall of Fame. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving. Winning a championship and going to the Hall of Fame, terrific accomplishments.
A man sold a book on Amazon, or selling a book on Amazon, titled How I Made $290,000 Selling Books.
Hit the brakes.
I'm glad you did that. There's only one copy of this book for sale. It is on sale for $290,000. Jalen Rose, are you going to buy this book?
No.
Something tells me that this man's name is Jalen Anthony Rose. Let's keep it moving. A museum in London has a very unique display celebrating the life and art of Amy Winehouse. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
This museum, I don't know how to say this, has a jar that allegedly contains actual fecal matter from Amy Winehouse. Why would you put this on display? Who wants to see this? Who wants to see this? You want me to pay money to go inside to look at some Amy Winehouse? Like, what is this?
Hey, man, that reminds me of a visual that I hate. When you're in a public setting and you go to the bathroom and there's still tissue and feces everywhere, I'm like,
no.
come on now.
Oh, no.
Who are the people in the bathroom?
Can we make this even worse? Can we make this even worse? Victor Wynn, the museum entrepreneur, said it's an additional fee if you want a sniff. Let's keep it moving. There was a very impatient motorist on a ferry. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving.
Oh, I want to hit the brakes. I'm hitting the brakes anyway. This dude's on a ferry, and it's a car ferry where you get from one side to the other. He didn't want to wait for everybody else for them to get the green light to go off the ferry, so he just drove his car just straight off into the water. He was rescued. No one was injured, but man, that was dumb. Just let the ferry end. Let the ferry end.
I've been that guy sometimes where there's construction, like say there's an exit closed on the freeway. It felt like, you know what, nobody looking. I'm about to move this. I don't have that extra 45 minutes.
I've definitely moved some cones.
You get halfway down.
I've moved some cones and be like, wait, I see what's happening on the other side of those cones. And in between here and there's nothing, so I'm just going to go right past that. I'll make my own decisions, okay, cones? You are mobile, cones. I love this next one. Malik Monk said he could beat Michael Jordan at one-on-one. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Malik Monk?
At this point of Michael Jordan's career, since he's over 50.
I think he's 54.
Probably so.
Probably, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan had some very crafty moves. If it was winner take out in a game to like 7, I don't know if I would pick Malik Monk against Michael Jordan.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. If you're a lottery pick and you can't beat any 54-year-old man in basketball, there's a problem there.
I think that's fair.
Like
I think that's
Ice
very
Cube
fair.
and Boys in the Hood.
But here's the thing: is Michael Jordan would cheat. He would get into a fight. He would gamble some money on something. He would have a side hustle going on. Like somehow Michael Jordan would throw the game and win $1 million or something. Let's keep it moving.
You got to go by the strength of a player's game. And Malik Monk gets buckets.
He does. Dwayne Wade knows how to stop Steph Curry. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes. We all been wondering this the last 3 years. He done won 2 championships, a unanimous MVP, 73 games. How do you do it?
Dwayne Wade suggests that all of the grocery stores in the world close so Aisha can no longer cook him food to prepare him for the game because he feels that the secret to Steph's success is Aisha's cooking. Your thoughts?
I'm not mad at that at all. Way to big up your significant other. But here's the thing I got to get with Steph on.
What's that?
Popcorn. I hear he's a fellow connoisseur.
Really?
Absolutely.
Makes it from the kernels in the pan?
I have to find out. That's where I have to get my Bob Lee on and figure this out.
You know what I figured out? When Steph Curry crashed that house party in Rhode Island, you know Aisha wasn't there. Aisha didn't make the wedding, or she was already asleep, and he was like, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go down to the lobby for 1 second. And then was chugging beers with the boys. Next, Steph Curry is plus 250,000 to win this weekend's Ellie Mae Classic golf tournament. I believe that means if you bet $100, you get $250,000 if Steph Curry wins. You're going to put some money down? Keep moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving.
Let's keep it moving.
No Tiger Woods. I'm good.
Police are on the hunt for thieves who stole 1,700-pound barbecue pit. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes. Barbecue pit? Hit the brakes.
Here's the best part about this. The 1,700 barbecue pit that they stole, it had brisket cooking inside. It couldn't even get better. I mean, that is, first of all, to have a 1,700-pound barbecue pit, you have to be very serious about your barbecue. And then to steal a 1,700-pound barbecue pit, you have to be even more serious about your barbecue. Like, this is some Ocean's 11 stuff. How much preparation has to go into this? And you have the brisket inside. This is a boss move.
It is a boss move. Got to give that to the entire neighborhood, no question.
Absolutely. Sometimes it won't be that hard to find. Like, just roll down the window, police, and just smell. Follow the scent of the brisket, and you'll be good. Next, Klay Thompson threw out the first pitch in an A's game. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving. His brother plays in the league.
Coming up
Strike
next
down the middle.
on Jalen and Jacoby, we're going to open up our Twitter feed. We're going to go into our subreddit and listen to our voicemails and give the people what they want. That's next on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN 2. This Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, we have another great preseason friendly for you on ESPN2. When the English side, Manchester United, takes on Italian side, Sampdoria in Dublin, Ireland. That's on ESPN2 and streaming live on the ESPN app. I hope I said Sampdoria correctly. Jalen Rose, let's give the people what they want. Giving the people what they want, we open up our Twitter feed, go into our subreddit, and listen to our voicemails to find out what you want. The first question that we have is from the Asian Hoosier. Shout out to this dude. He sends us tweets all the time. His question is, how would Mike Tyson have fared as a UFC fighter?
I'm not counting out Iron Mike.
Never.
In any way, shape, or form. So I think if that was something that he really studied and he got into it, he was a physical specimen, especially in his prime. I thought he would have been a really good MMA performer had he decided to do so.
And he can always sell a fight. There's something magnetic about his personality. And I feel like UFC is a good place to sort of display your personality and sell the fights. And they kind of it's a little bit looser than boxing. He would have enjoyed that. However, I like him just where he is as one of the greatest boxers to ever do it. Another question from same dude. Shout to him, Asian Hoosier.
Shout out.
I know your love of minivans, but what is your take on cloth interior minivans? Okay, Jalen, I'll take this one because I'm the minivan man. They should never, ever, ever produce a cloth interior minivan. Why do people drive minivans, Jalen Rose?
Because they have the kids in the back.
Because they have kids. Are kids clean, Jalen Rose?
Not at all. Ice cream, water,
everything,
juice.
everywhere. Bodily fluids, just everything flying everywhere all over the minivan. I need to get like a pressure hose and spray out the minivan like once a month. There's all kinds of crumbs in there and just stuff you didn't even know was in there that you find a month later. There should never, ever be cloth anything on minivans. Matter of fact, minivans should really be covered in plastic like the furniture at your grandma's house. Finally, we'll continue with the theme, just the Asian Hoosier today from Twitter. Last question is a Kyrie-led team for real?
That's what he's hoping to prove. And I give props to a guy like Damian Lillard, who has been to the playoffs every year, has put up big-time numbers, doing it in Portland. Without LaMarcus Aldridge, as they added C.J. McCollum, they've changed around their roster. I think when Kyrie looks at a situation like his, that becomes a challenge. Can I duplicate that?
So here's my question. Where could you see that manifest itself? And even more specifically, where do you want Kyrie Irving to be traded to?
See, the misconception is that that has to manifest itself. It doesn't need to. How about just end up in San Antonio and play with Kawhi Leonard and figure everything else out later?
They've got a lot of point guards. They've got Tony Parker and Patty Mills, DeJounte Murray.
Let me tell you something.
Okay, I'm listening.
Patty Mills just signed a big-time deal. Terrific backup. Going to get his chance to start. We know Tony Parker's over the hill. And you talked about the young fella who played really well.
Tony Parker's already at the bottom of the other side of the hill.
If you're on the phone with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you could get Kyrie, a guy that put 50 on you twice, they'll find a way to get that done. And so, again, it's way too early to even speculate because he doesn't have a no-trade clause. But when you're the level of talent that he is, all teams are calling to try to make deals happen. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't move him before the start of the season.
If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't move him, period. Be like, thank you. I know that you want to trade Mr. Irving. I respect that. I understand that. However, I'm not going to trade you. Let's go into our voicemails. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show just like this.
Hey, guys. My name's Adam from California. I have a question for Jalen. You keep talking about how Carmelo Anthony would come off the bench for LeBron James. But you also say that the positions in basketball are just so novices understand the game. Now, is it conceivable for the Cavs to have a lineup that consists of Kevin Love, Carmelo Anthony, and LeBron James all starting? Or is it all too much of an issue for defensive assignments? Thanks, guys.
Jalen Rose, could Kevin Love, LeBron James, and Carmelo Anthony comprise of a front court in the Eastern Conference?
On certain nights, you can put junk lineups out there, especially in the East. When you look at the landscape of all of the teams, usually there's only one productive big on each squad.
Yep.
So there are times you can put Kevin Love at the 5. LeBron's thrived at the 4 since playing in Miami, now still doing so in Cleveland. So it, in theory, could work, but not against the best teams.
No.
And so based on Carmelo's defense with Kevin Love's, and then you have Kyrie's as well, now you have some holes out there. So I understand that I was the person that said positions were created so a novice could follow the game. This is why if he plays with LeBron James, his position will be on the sideline waiting for a substitute.
And shout to Adam, but you know what? Carmelo Anthony is like, I'm not going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm not waiving my no-trade clause for that opportunity. So thank you very much. I will not be backing up LeBron James. That's it for us today. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. And also, if we don't get canceled, we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m., not 2 a.m. Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2.